She lived in a world without electricity, without machines, without computers. And yet, she imagined a machine that could think, a machine that could create, a machine that could change the world. A century before computers even existed, one woman saw the future. Her name was Ada Lovelace. Ada was born in 1815 in London. Her father was the legendary poet Lord Byron, a man whose words shook the world with their passion and fire. Her mother, Lady Annabella, was his complete opposite. She was a brilliant mathematician, so obsessed with numbers and logic that she was nicknamed the Princess of Parallelograms. From the moment Ada opened her eyes, she was caught between two worlds, the vibrant, chaotic world of poetry and the cold, structured world of logic. But she would never truly know her father. Lord Byron left England when Ada was only a few weeks old, and he never returned. Her mother raised her alone with a single, driving purpose: to protect her daughter from the wild and emotional nature she believed Ada had inherited from her father. So Ada's childhood was a strict regimen of mathematics, numbers, equations, geometry. Anything to suppress the poetry and imagination she feared was lurking inside. But that imagination was a fire, and it never stopped burning. From her earliest years, Ada was different from other children. She didn't want dolls or toys. She wanted to invent. At just 12 years old, while other girls her age were learning etiquette, Ada was designing a flying machine. This wasn't a fantasy of paper wings or feathers. It was a serious engineering project. She designed a mechanical device powered by steam. She meticulously studied the anatomy of birds, analyzed the shape and size of their wings, and created detailed sketches and diagrams with the precision of a master engineer. Her mother watched, perhaps with a mix of shock and awe. This wasn't childish fantasy. This was real engineering. Ada wasn't just imaginative. She was a certified genius. Then, in 1833, when Ada was 17, she was invited to a high society party in London. She probably expected the usual evening of music, dancing, and polite, boring conversation. Instead, she met the man who would alter the course of her life forever, Charles Babbage. Babbage was a brilliant, eccentric mathematician and inventor, a man possessed by a single, all-consuming dream: to build the world's first powerful calculating machine. He called it the difference engine. At the party, Babbage proudly showed off a small working model of his incredible invention. Most of the guests politely admired the gleaming brass gears, but they had no real idea what they were looking at. It was a curiosity, a mechanical spectacle, but Ada saw more. She understood it instantly. As Babbage explained its function, her eyes lit up. Her mind raced far ahead of his words, grasping not just how it worked, but what it could do. Babbage was astonished. He had spent years trying to explain his ideas to people who simply couldn't see the vision. But here was a young woman who not only understood his machine, she saw its potential, its future. That night, an extraordinary partnership was born. Ada Lovelace, the visionary, had found Charles Babbage, the inventor. Together, they would lay the foundation for the modern world. Babbage, thrilled to have finally found a kindred spirit, invited Ada to his workshop. It must have looked like a magician's lair. Everywhere she looked were gears, levers, and cranks, a universe of intricate metal parts, all designed to work in perfect harmony. But where others saw a complex mess of machinery, Ada saw a world of infinite possibility. Then, Babbage revealed something even greater. It was a new design, a new, far more ambitious dream. He called it the Analytical engine. Unlike the difference engine, which could only perform a fixed set of calculations, this new machine was a revolutionary leap forward. It was designed to have a memory to store numbers, a central processor, what Babbage called the mill, to perform operations, and it could follow a set of instructions fed into it using punch cards. It could even change its operations based on the results of previous calculations. In every meaningful way, The analytical engine was the blueprint for the world's first programmable computer. Most people who heard about it, including the British government, dismissed it as just a more complicated calculator. They couldn't see its true power, but Ada did. She saw something far beyond mere numbers. She saw a machine that could create patterns, a machine that could process not just numbers, but symbols. She imagined it composing music, creating art, and weaving complex logical arguments. She saw a machine that might one day even think. In 1843, Ada was asked to translate a scientific paper written by an Italian engineer about the analytical engine. She agreed, but she didn't just translate it. She decided to add her own thoughts, her own analysis. She added a series of notes. These notes ended up being 3 times longer than the original paper itself. And locked within them were ideas so far ahead of their time, they were almost science fiction. In her notes, Ada described the world's first computer algorithm, a step-by-step sequence of operations designed to be carried out by the machine. She essentially laid out the concept of software programming. She was the first to realize that a machine like this could manipulate symbols, not just numbers, opening the door for it to do anything that could be represented symbolically, like language or music. She predicted that these machines could one day become partners in human creativity. In a world that didn't even have electricity, Ada Lovelace was describing the core concepts of artificial intelligence. In a world without computers, she wrote the very first computer program. At the time, almost no one understood the profound importance of what she had written. Her work was groundbreaking, but the world wasn't ready for it. But today, looking back from our digital age, we can see the truth. Ada Lovelace had written the blueprint for the 21st century. Ada believed that machines were not just tools for calculation, but extensions of the human imagination. In one of her most famous lines, she wrote, "The analytical engine weaves algebraic patterns just as the jacquard loom weaves flowers and leaves." This wasn't just a beautiful metaphor, it was a prophecy. She saw that the same principles used to weave intricate patterns in fabric could be used to weave intricate patterns of logic, information, and art. But her brilliance burned too brightly, too soon. Ada Lovelace died at the tragically young age of 36. Her revolutionary work, contained in those incredible notes, was largely forgotten. It was dismissed by many as the fanciful musings of a poet's daughter, and left to gather dust in archives for over a century. Then, in the mid-20th century, as the first real electronic computers were being built, pioneers like Alan Turing rediscovered her writings. And finally, the world began to understand. They realized that the first person to truly grasp the full potential of a computer, the first person to see it not as a calculator, but as a creative partner, was a young woman from the 1800s. Today, Ada Lovelace is celebrated as a true icon of science and technology. She is known as the first computer programmer, the mother of computing, the prophet of the digital age. She was the woman who saw the future before it existed. And this is only the beginning of her incredible story. In our next episode, we'll dive deeper into the inventions, the alliances, and the personal battles that shaped one of the greatest minds in human history. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more.